Hey everyone, it's Christine and John here on the Inspired
Hello.
Platform, and we would like to introduce you to EUCY and tell you a little bit about how it all happened.
How we communicate, how the process is, so that you kind of get a picture.
Yes, exactly, and get comfortable. So, when we say EUCY, that's an acronym that stands for Eternal Universal Consciousness. Why? And the why part's going to be revealed later on. That's what they said. And we refer to EUCY as higher consciousness. We were introduced to this form of communication many years ago through a fateful encounter. I'm just going to quickly run you through the process, how we usually do it. So when it's for us, usually we will get a feeling that it's a good time to communicate, or we will have a question. Christine has a question. I might have a question. We experience contrast, and that for us is a wonderful way to
Get in contact and
move back into alignment.
tune in.
And tune in. Yeah, that's how we. So what I will do is I will close my eyes, relax, take a few deep breaths, and invite and allow for EUCY to come through. And basically, my own consciousness, it feels like it sits somewhere in the back of my head, and I'm observing this process. And it's not like I'm allowing another entity to possess my body at all. It is more like downloading information and giving the words and giving my voice to this downloaded information. And Christine usually is the one facilitating the conversation. And if there's someone else, this is usually how it naturally works.
Yeah, I'll ask the questions. If we have someone sitting with hair, sometimes people are a little bit shy at the beginning, so I'm kind of the icebreaker.
Yeah, she is the icebreaker. So let's jump right in.
Okay.
We're really excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you know it's our pleasure.
Today we introduced you to the whole world. And I would like for you to kind of say a few words about yourself, introduce you.
It's interesting that you should use those words because we don't have selves. We are consciousness. Consciousness that is omnipresent, and it is our intention to assist you and everyone around you to get into this state of alignment, of joy, of happiness, of well-being, and to realize that truly this physical experience is all about that. It's about being in alignment with your higher self or inner being, with Source, in alignment with your desires, and realizing that there is no reason why you shouldn't experience everything that you want to experience, everything that you desire to experience. And we would like to assist you in this process of manifestation. And mostly of all, we would like to have fun with you.
Wonderful. This leads me to my next question.
Please go ahead. You've asked a few of those.
Could we talk a little bit more about well-being?
Well, maybe we jump into it by saying that well-being is the absence of all resistance. Now, you see, we're not saying well-being is the absence of all contrast, because you can be in a seemingly contrasty situation and still experience perfect well-being. But it means that you are in a state of allowing and of letting it flow and of being present in the moment and finding positive thoughts, finding good feeling thoughts, finding better feeling thoughts, until it leads you, because the longer you focus on those thoughts, the quicker it leads you into that state where you are not asking for those thoughts anymore. They're simply flowing into your experience, and then you morph into this state of well-being that is, it is good, it is here, it is now. And that is true well-being. And then we would like to say that the way we would like to suggest for you to live life is to move from one state of well-being to another state of well-being to another state of well-being. In other words, you create this experience where you are not pushing against anything anymore. You create this experience where you're not efforting and you're not saying, I'm going to create this part of my day that is efforting, and then later on I'm going to move into a state of well-being. We would like for you to know that life is meant to be joy, is meant to be happiness, is meant to be freedom, is meant to be well-being. It was designed that way. It was designed that way, and the laws of the universe are absolute, which means that they do not discriminate. The laws never discriminate. It is where you focus your attention to, and when you focus your attention on well-being, on eternal well-being, on living a life of states of well-being, on perpetuated well-being, on increased well-being, on expanded well-being, on beautiful, loving well-being, then that is going to be your dominant vibration. And this is such a wonderful word, and it is such a wonderful, beautiful energy around that word. There is no push, no pull. It is well, and it is being. And it is yours.
Well, could you give us an example of how to move into that well-being state?
Let's say that something that might happen, and we are not going into the reasons of why things happen at this point, but let's say that you're experiencing contrast because your tire, you have a flat tire and you're sitting on the side of the road, and maybe there's even a schedule and you have to be somewhere, and all of these things seem to go wrong. Now, what happens is, when you focus on those things, then you are on this train, on this momentum that is only going to increase those little inconveniences, and it's only going to get more annoying, and it's only going to get more challenging, and there's really truly nothing for you to gain there. So what we would say is, in a situation like that where you have contrast, relax for a second. Relax for a second, take a deep breath, and find a thought that feels good. And there is always a thought to be found that feels good. And we suggest that you don't go and try to manifest something consciously in that moment. First, go really broad, go really general. Find something that you can get excited about, like your favorite coffee, your favorite ice cream, a beautiful memory with a loved one, something that has no resistance within you, something that whenever you think about it feels really good. And then move into that state by allowing yourself to focus on that thought, on that memory, on that flavor. Focus on it for longer periods of time. And when we say that, we mean maybe half a minute, maybe 30 seconds, maybe longer. And allow yourself to move into that state and to realize that everything is always working out for you. And that is the first step to well-being, is allowing yourself to be joyful or just content, or to be happy, or to be well, even though there's contrast in your experience. And that in turn will already raise your vibration where things are going to start flowing again. And you will experience the flow very quickly. So while just a few minutes ago you had that contrast, now all of a sudden you are experiencing the flow again, and it is from the inside out and not the other way around. It is never the other way around. It happens on the inside first, and it's projecting on the outside. And this is the first step into well-being.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And you know how we end our conversation.
Yes.
And so.
It is.
And so.
It is.
And so.
It is.
It's good to be back. So this was an example of how we communicate with EUCY.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really like talking to a friend that
is very wise.
That is very wise. And while we believe that every one of us has access to that, we have learned that as humans in this physical experience, we fall into situations that make it sometimes more challenging to access this higher consciousness. And if you have questions or you would like to experience this for yourself, then there's a number of ways of how you can do this. Number one is you can book a one-on-one session. If you're in our area, then this could even happen in person. But if not, then there's a video call, which is no problem at all. And this would be a session that you book, and we find a time that works for everyone, and you can ask your questions and talk to EUCY. And then there's another possibility, which is a group call. Which will happen once a week. We will all go on a video call together, and depending on availability, depending on a time and a number of people, there will be the opportunity to ask questions. Now, if you don't get to actually ask a question, it doesn't mean that your question won't be answered. From experience, we can usually tell that even if you don't get the opportunity to ask the question, it's going to be answered.
Yeah.
So that's the second opportunity, and you can schedule those below. We'll have all the information. And then there's a third opportunity where you can invite us to your event or create an event for it. And so if you want to do that, then we will drive or fly, depending on where it is, into your city and your town, and we can have an event together with EUCY. And so feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Send us an email, or if you are ready, schedule your first call or jump on a first group call. And we look forward to many beautiful experiences with you all.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, and have an inspired day.
Blessed day.